Yusuke is surrounded by a large horde of goblins, and he faces them head-on. His inner dialogue reveals that he prefers to fight alone and despises the people living in Tokyo. In the next scene, we see Yusuke walking to school and watch his peers interact. Later that night, he's engrossed in playing an RPG game, which he enjoys. However, his mood is dampened when he sees a board with writing and a picture of himself as a child. Yusuke's attention then shifts to his smartphone, as he searches for something. The next day at school, Yusuke is tasked with cleaning the chalkboard. He's joined in the classroom by Yu, the school's most popular and athletic girl. Unbeknownst to Yu, Yusuke had looked her up on his smartphone the previous night. As he cleans the board, he notices Yu chatting with Kusu, another girl in their class. When Yusuke finishes cleaning the board, he's scolded by his teacher for not turning in his future plans form. While the teacher continues to lecture him, Yusuke notices that Yu and Kusu are still in the class. Eager to go home and play his game, Yusuke hurries through the conversation with his teacher. As he's about to inform Yu and Kusu that it's time to lock up for the day, he realizes that they've already left. Suddenly, a butterfly net drops to the ground at the back of the room, and Yusuke hears a little girl running and giggling in the hallway. When he turns to look at the chalkboard, he sees 3 stick figures and fully bloomed flower heads drawn on it. As Yusuke tries to make sense of this strange occurrence, he's suddenly transported to another world. After Yusuke is transported to the other world, he's greeted by his classmates Yu and Kusu. Suddenly, the game master appears and assigns the group a quest from the village chief, with a 14-day time limit. They're shown a list of quest objectives and each given a combative role by the game master. Yu becomes a wind wizard, Kusu a sword knight, but Yusuke's role is determined by spinning a roulette wheel. It lands on farmer, which disappoints Yu and Kusu. Later, Yu explains to Yusuke how she was transported to this world. After completing her own quest for the game master then instructed her to recruit Kusu in the real world for the next quest, and the condition was to become her friend. After defeating the next quest with Kusu, the game master then instructed them to recruit Yusuke and the condition was that they had to be alone with him. It was difficult as Yusuke was being lectured by his teacher at the time. When the teacher left, leaving them alone, all 3 of them were then transported to this world. Yu then teaches Yusuke how to equip weapons from his inventory, which only consists of a hoe and sickle since he's a farmer. As Yusuke, Yu, and Kusu venture through a forest, they come across a log point, which Yu explains is a save point that records their progress. Yusuke touches the log point and has a glimpse of a heart-to-heart moment between Yu and Kusu, in which Kusu expresses her doubts about her fighting abilities. The revelation leaves Kusu flustered, but they don't have much time to dwell on it as they're ambushed by a group of goblins. Yusuke charges at the goblins with his scythe, but it's quickly broken by a goblin's club. Yu tries to use her wind magic, but it proves to be ineffective as well. Kusu, who is a sword knight, is too timid to do anything effective against the goblins. Yusuke tries to use Kusu's sword, but he can't because it's not assigned to him. In a last-ditch effort, Yusuke charges at the goblin with his hoe, but it too is broken, and he dies as the goblin's club smashes into his face. As a naked and transparent ghost, Yusuke looks at his fallen body, but after 30 seconds, he returns to his body, and Yu explains how the game mechanics work. As long as one of them is alive the other can revive in 30 seconds. Yusuke and Yu work together to impale a goblin with his broken hoe, but Yusuke dies again in the process. Thanks to Yusuke's efforts, the group completes their first objective of slaying a goblin. However, Yusuke is now worried and asks what would happen if they all die. Yu answers that if they all die, they'll die for real in the real world. The group sets up camp in a rocky area for the night and plans to visit a nearby village. Yusuke is concerned about his weapons taking 5 days to regenerate and asks the girls about the rewards they'll receive upon completing their quests. The game master had instructed him to ask the girls. In response, the girls reveal that they can only ask the game master a single question. Yu asked why they chose her? And the game master replied, someone requested it. Kusu asked who they were? And the game master replied, they are from the future. Yusuke wondered what question he should ask. Later, Yusuke takes the first watch duty and comes across a horde of goblins, which he defeats. While on watch, he hears Kusu screaming his name and rushes back to camp to find her missing her legs from the waist down and her left arm. The culprit is a large horned beast holding Yu. The girls warn Yusuke to run as the monster is too powerful. However, the monster bites off and eats Yu's head before Yusuke can do anything. The next day, Yusuke and Kusu are shown to be alive by the riverside where they first entered, but Kusu's hand hasn't regenerated, possibly because the monster ate it. Yusuke is disconcerted and believes that Yu won't revive as she was eaten by the monster. In light of this, Yusuke makes the executive decision to forget about Yu and the monster and focus on meeting the village chief to complete their quest. As our two protagonists arrive in the small village, they are greeted with an enthusiastic welcome from the villagers who call them heroes. They soon meet with the village chief, who reveals that their task is to defeat a rampaging troll that has been terrorizing the land. The troll had not only caused destruction but also taken the life of Yu and bitten off Kusu's hand. Although disturbed by the revelation, Yusuke decides to train himself to become stronger, so he can rank up and defeat the troll. Kusu also wishes to accompany him, but Yusuke argues that she would be better off staying in the village as she might get in his way. As Yusuke departs from Kusu, his mind is captivated by the excitement of this new world, which is far more thrilling than Tokyo. And with that, we conclude this episode.